I'm so happy because really and truly, the off season is good to make deals. Is good for the players to get a rest. Sometimes we need a rest as well. But really and truly, this is what we love. This is what we. This is what a lot of us kind of in a way have been living for since we were little. These games, the beautiful game and the competition that happens all throughout Europe. So yeah, but Yusuf, how you doing?
I've been amazing. I've been good. I've been good. It's been an amazing week of football, and you know, it's been amazing, man. And my Baba outdid himself, so I'm feeling pretty good. You get me? Need to take a few selfies,
I'm
I need to
I'm
take a
glad
few selfies.
I'm glad you're feeling good because we're gonna start with Real Madrid. Real Madrid and the weird game they had against Mallorca in the first game of the season. And again, going back to what we were talking about the past few weeks about Real Madrid and where they are as a club, where they won the double last season, they were able to win the Champions League, they were able to win the La Liga, and they done so in a convincing manner. And they just went
Hmm.
on to acquire Mbappe, and they drew that first game. Is
It
it is
looked
it
very stale.
yeah? Is it time to worry at Madrid, or are things still okay?
No, it is not really a time to worry because if we compare it to last season, we began the season very slow.
Yeah.
Remember, it took time for the players to adjust to the 4-4-2 formation. Remember, on the other show, I used to complain about the fact that why don't we just go back to what we are comfortable with? And after they adjusted, the formation became very deadly and very solid. So, with the inclusion of a player like Mbappe, he's a big name. With the deduction of key players like Cruz,
Mhm.
that is a big deduction from the midfield. So it will take time to adjust. Even though a Mallorca side isn't a game that we should lose, regardless of the level of adjustments. Um, in history, Mallorca has been a team to always try to get a point
I guess
from
Madrid.
Real Madrid, especially in the home.
Yeah.
We have drew, I think, our home to them. The last 4 games, I think they've been able to manage a point in the last 4 games.
That's
So it
good.
looks like Mallorca just kind of knows how to play with Real Madrid. But aside that, I feel like they are just taking this time to have a feel of themselves. The We miss Cruz. I could see how Cruz's impact is missed because I
Hmm.
the midfield wasn't connecting like the way it was supposed to connect. I could see a lot of defensive and offensive lapses in Chouameni. I saw the back line even complaining and screaming at him in some cases. I just thought we have a roster filled with players who have practically been on international duty throughout this off season. They've practically been working throughout this off season. So there's the case of fatigue. There's a case of just players just tired and now having to engulf themselves into a new formation that is the 4-3-3 formation after playing the 4-4-2 formation last season. Players
Hmm.
understanding their roles in the squad. Kylian Mbappe. There's a video of Kylian Mbappe actually kind of coaching Vinny as to where he's supposed to be in a play. And you understand me? Just players trying to have a feel of it, like trying to understand their roles in the team. It is not time to panic. We should have won that game, but you should know that it is what? A marathon, not a sprint. Some people are very good with running 100 meters, and
Yeah.
some people are what? Monsters at the sprint. For a great team, you should be a marathon team. The season has a lot of more games. So you should be a team that can sustain itself from the beginning to the end. So it is nothing to be scared about. There's going to be some adjustments. We need to include some level of creativity in the midfield. I would chastise Carlo for like late substitutions because the injection of Ibrahim and Ada Gule could have done a lot more if they had come sooner. I would say we need more creativity in midfield. We need Jude to go back to the natural Jude position he played last season. We don't need. We need Kylian and Vinny to perfectly understand each other. There's so much passiveness. There's positions or possessions where Vinny is trying to be passive or Kylian is trying to be passive. We need Kylian to be Kylian and Vinny to be Vinny. There's going to be some element of selfishness. They just have to find a balance. We need Valverde to tap into his creativity side. He's more playing the same role Chouamini is playing in a team that we need you to push forward. You know what I mean? And I feel Camavinga is going to be a staple in this team because we need that midfielder that pushes the ball forward and that is creative. So it is nothing to panic about. It's the first game. We should have pulled a win. But yeah, adjustments are going to be made. And trust me, we are going to come into the next game guns blazing.
Yeah, and now I'll give my take quickly. And I was kind of trying to tease Yusuf at the start, but really and truly, there's no reason to panic. It's the first game of the season. They didn't lose, so I guess you can take that. And as Yusuf said, I was gonna make the same point. Real Madrid always seem to struggle against Mallorca. If you watched the game, whether it was Portuguese commentary, Spanish commentary, English commentary, a lot of the commentators made that same point. Real Madrid always seem to struggle against Mallorca. You just have those teams. For example, Man City, where they've been dominant, but they used to struggle a lot against Crystal Palace. You have a team like Man United, who, even in their heyday, they would struggle a lot against Stoke City. You just have those teams where sometimes
Chelsea and Newcastle.
Yeah, Mourinho was never able to win at St. James's. It's like great teams sometimes struggle against smaller teams, quote unquote, because these teams are able to set up against them a lot better. Now, it does go to show that Real Madrid, they're not unbeatable. As you just explained, I was gonna kind of talk in the same points. Is if you're able to perhaps control that Real Madrid midfield, you could probably beat them. That midfield right now needs tempo, and this kind of reminds me of that 2015 Real Madrid team after the World Cup. They wanted to do a bunch of things, bring in James, do a bunch of things, and really and truly, it did not work. Sometimes it's just about putting names on paper or putting names on the pitch. It takes time to build chemistry, to build the right system. So again, Real Madrid fans, there's no reason to worry, or at least there's no reason to panic yet. Because I believe in Ancelotti. He showed us last season that he lost Karim Benzema, a Ballon d'Or winner, and was still able to win the double. So if there are managers out there that can possibly go on to solve this problem, it's definitely Ancelotti, and I believe in Ancelotti. But yeah, it does go to show that there's a path there to beat Real Madrid. A team like Atletico, they could beat Real Madrid. A team like Barcelona, they could beat Real Madrid. It's players like Mbappe and etc. They're really gonna have to step the game up.
But and you should also know one thing. Not to cut you off. You should also know one thing. The energy or we went into the game with low energy because we underrated them. Yeah. So even though it looks like we might have drew against Mallorca, the energy would play an El Clasico with or Atletico de Madrid with is going to be totally different. We might not have found the energy against Mallorca because players feel like, okay, this is a game I can rest or this is a game I can relax. Trust me, if this first game was a Barcelona, we might be here talking about Kylian Mbappe's hat-trick or Vini's exceptional performance because the energy we give other teams is going to be different.
Fair enough. Yeah, we're going to circle back to the La Liga because I still think that, for example, Atletico Madrid's first game can be talked about. It's just when football season is back, there's going to be new things to talk about every week. But I want to go very quickly to the Premier League, and the first team I want to talk about is Manchester United. And we'll talk about United, we'll talk about City, we'll talk about Arsenal, but Manchester United. And I want to give Xerxes his flowers because, hey, I hope this continues. I'm going to put my hand up, and because I was one of the main people to criticize Xerxes at the start of the season, because as I explained before, I don't know why we're going for a striker that's not a very good finisher. But again, in his first game, he was able to score a goal. He was able to score a crucial goal to put us through against Fulham, and the goal which was able to give us the 3 points. I just hope the goals keep coming for Xerxes, because again, at these clubs like Manchester United, you're going to be criticized a lot. And from what I've seen from Xerxes last season, he's not that prolific of a finisher. He
For
proved me
finisher,
wrong on the
yeah.
weekend. I mean, he proved me wrong on Friday, and I hope he continues to prove me wrong because, again, I'm
Mm-hmm.
not too confident on this guy. But just overall, the way we are playing and the system that's there, I still think we need a striker. I still think Manchester United need a striker because the way we are playing is not sustainable. I think I know it's only one game, but this style of football is not going to be sustainable. Point
Mm-hmm.
number two, Casemiro was amazing, and Casemiro with these 2 months off, it just goes to show us once again that Casemiro's first season was not a fluke. On his day, Casemiro can very easily be the best player on this team. The only player that even has an argument against Casemiro would be Bruno Fernandes. If we had all of our players on their best form, the only player that lights up a candle to Casemiro is Bruno Fernandes. It's just whether Casemiro is able to sustain this form throughout the season. Because if he is this midfield of Casemiro, Kobe Mainu, and Bruno Fernandes, he's one of the best midfields in the league, and I'll stand by that.
Yeah.
And then the defense is going to go from strength to strength with the legs in the team. You've got Euro that's going
Mm-hmm.
to come back in two
Mm-hmm.
months. I'm
Mm-hmm.
optimistic, but again, the striker situation is still worrying for me.
It was it was an amazing game for me to watch because you expect teams to start slow in the first game. So I wasn't really reading much into body language or reading much into how well they executed the coach's philosophy, you understand me? Because I understood it is going to be the first game and there's going to be, going to be some sluggish performances, right? Casemiro was exceptional, but to the detriment of Kobe Maino.
Mhm.
I feel like I feel like Kobe Maino is very versatile. But at his age, he should be coached to be versatile. So when he goes into a game, he's smart enough to know his role, but then the coach should give him the confidence to kind of assume other roles if he feels like he's not needed in other departments. So take N'Golo Kante and what's his name, Scolari, right?
Scolari,
Uh, No, N'Golo Kante and
the
the
Sharks.
what's his name? Napoli manager.
Oh, I forgot his
The
name.
Napoli manager that came to Chelsea.
Oh, Conte.
No, not Conte.
Oh no, the guy that used to smoke a lot. I know who you're talking about.
Yeah. So N'Golo Kante's
Yeah.
game changed under him because he brought in Jorginho and he preferred Jorginho in the sixth role. So N'Golo Kante had to adapt to playing the eighth role and push the ball forward. I want to see Kobe Maino do more of that if Casemiro is
Sorry.
playing like that. Sorry.
Yeah,
I
sorry.
want to see Kobe Mino do more of that if Casemiro is playing like this.
Hmm.
You understand me? The defensive side of Mino and Casemiro is exceptional.
Yeah.
But I want to see Mino assume that role and push the ball forward more with no fears of like being reprimanded for doing it. You get me? Aside that, I feel like the team is going to do good. You still need a striker. Every team has like a solid marksman. Manchester remains unsettled on the striker role. I know you have two project strikers
Yeah.
wanting to do something in the EPL this season. I don't think your best bet is project strikers. You understand me? So, and Manchester United isn't the only team that needs a striker right now. So, but we're going to talk about the rest.
That's a very good point because again, I think you're also talking about Arsenal, and it's like Manchester United. We have a problem where we are not getting enough goals, and we've got
Mm-hmm.
two as you said and said very well. We've got two project strikers. We are not
Yeah.
scoring goals, and we're betting on these young players to get us our goals.
Mm-hmm.
The comparison to Arsenal is that Arsenal also have a problem with their striker, but Arsenal last year were able to score over 90 goals. Arsenal scored 91 goals last season. The goals came from
Mm-hmm.
Trossard, they came from Havertz, Odegaard, Saka. Arsenal, although they
Mm-hmm.
are struggling with their striker right now, they are still able to get goals from different places. Manchester United do not have that
Yeah.
same luxury because Ahmad is not there yet. Sancho's not performing. Rashford's not performing.
Mm-hmm.
Bruno from time to time he'll get back into form, but it's like we are not able to. Garnacho's not performing that. Garnacho cannot perform to that level yet. So we are not. We
Yeah.
don't have the luxury that Arsenal have to not be able to spend that much money on a striker. because our
Mm-hmm.
style of football is not like Arsenal's or City's where anyone can score. So this is why I
Yeah.
thought it was so important for us to be able to get a proper striker this season. But instead,
A
we went
proper
with
number nine.
we went with like Hoyland number 2. But yeah,
Yeah.
but we'll see. We'll see how it works out. Hopefully I'm wrong. Hopefully I am wrong, and Hoyland and Xerxes prove me wrong. But yeah, leaving leaving Manchester United for a second and moving on to Arsenal. Not just Arsenal. Excuse me. Where did I have? Okay, my bad. Okay, moving away from Arsenal for a second and talking about Arsenal now. What a performance Arsenal put up!
Amazing.
What a performance Arsenal put up!
That was a statement performance, and I like that.
Amazing performance. And Saka, hey,
Mm-hmm.
hey.
Hats out.
I have later on we're gonna go through some hot takes, and I have a hot take about Saka, and maybe it's not so much of a hot take because the way he's playing, the assist he made, the goal he scored.
Mm-hmm.
If Saka's
Mm-hmm.
able to stay consistent, maybe they won't need a striker. Maybe Saka can be, because we've seen it before, like Tottenham when they had Gareth Bale, Ronaldo when they
Yeah.
had United when they had Ronaldo. Maybe your goals don't all come from a striker. Maybe your winger can be that top goal scorer. So we'll see.
Yeah. Maybe, but I don't think they still need one. Saka isn't one of the most prolific strikers,
Hmm.
like or wingers that like for you to be able to do that, you need a winger that is more goal first.
Hmm.
Saka is a pass first. Take for example, the only reason why Manchester United isn't going all out for a number nine right now, I feel like, is their belief in a Rashford. Because a Rashford can be a number nine and a number seven and a number 11 and number 10 at the same time. On his good day, he can be your 15, 20 goals. You understand me? On a
Hmm.
good day, he can be your 15, 20 goals. And the likes of Garnacho modeling their game after a Cristiano Ronaldo means he's also in that realm. On a good season, he can be your 10 goals, 15 goals a season. So if those two parties click, that is like 20, 30 goals from your wingers. So you just need a striker to be able to pull his weight.
Hmm.
You understand me? But a Saka, yeah. But if, as you said, that was an amazing performance all around. If he's able to play this way and at least score in every other game, that would be like enough output for them to do without a striker.
Yeah, because again, another thing that we need to take into consideration is the development of players. It's like, yes, we
Mm-hmm.
know Saka to be a pass first player, but at some point
Mm-hmm.
Ronaldo was also regarded as a
As a pass
explosive,
first.
like explosive winger, but he wasn't much
Mm-hmm.
of a finisher. But he developed into that player.
Facts.
Now, I'm not saying Saka's
Facts.
going to develop into that player, but I'm saying you, you just take things into consideration. It's like if
Yeah.
Saka could develop his game, if Arteta could tell Saka to develop his game, to being the main man in the team, to being the guy that they go to for goals, and in my opinion,
Mm-hmm.
Saka, he has the skill set. He's been proving
Facts.
it. Like he's been consistent, at least consistently scoring for the past 3 seasons, at least 15 goals.
Facts.
He'll give you
Mm-hmm.
assists. He's fast. He's good on a one-on-one. He's a great finisher, coming in and then putting the ball behind the net. He's shown it in the Euros. He's shown it last year against United. He's shown it in this first game. He's got a great scoring ability. It's just, is Saka going to be consistent enough? And again, is that going to be enough output to upset City?
True.
Because, as a quick segue, talking about City now, the boy Haaland, all that criticism they had for him about, Haaland, he's not that great of a player. He's not very good on the build-up play. It doesn't matter when you've just won back-to-back Golden Boots. You come back, and I think Haaland's record is like 92 goals for City in 100 games.
Yeah.
So all this yappa they were doing about Haaland, I don't understand, because
In that.
most teams in the world would die to have an Erling Haaland in their team, and City, who in my opinion play the best football in Europe, have the best striker. So again, big up to Cucurella because he made a fool of himself, and I think Cucurella is a physical Cucurella is the physical representation of a lot of these fans that are just chatting a lot of things about Haaland, which aren't really true.
JVM, what do I always tell you? I need my strikers to score. Why did I always used to praise Lukaku? If a striker can give me 100 goals in the EPL, he's good. If my striker can give me 15, 20, 25 goals a season, what do I need the first touch for? When I have Kevin De Bruyne, Bernardo Silva, Phil Foden, what do I need him to control the ball for? When I have even the likes of Lewis playing fullback, that's how much talent I have. That kid isn't a fullback. You understand me? I need my strikers to score. So it might be an old school mentality, but if my striker is scoring goals, he's doing his job. That is why I constantly praise Haaland. If my striker can give me 25 goals a season, he has done his job. Remember, on the first episode or second episode of the show, I said something about Karim Benzema. Before the season he had, the Ballon d'Or season he had, I told you this. I said this on the show. Until Karim Benzema starts netting the goals he's supposed to be netting, I don't rate him as a striker. And he did that before he left Real Madrid. So all of the yaps about Haaland, the second person in 100 games to have this much goals is Salah with 57 or 58 goals. Haaland is at, what, 90 something, bro? What else do you need from your striker? The only thing he didn't do well last season was being missing in some marquee games. Aside that, he's doing his job. So all of the yaps is just people not understanding how roles play in football. Because I don't need you to have a perfect touch to score a goal. I only need you to be able to net the goal when you have the opportunity to. And if he is doing that and his role as a number 9 is to score goals, Haaland is the only striker scoring goals that we are actually criticizing.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It is similar to what happened to Bruno Fernandes. I can't record 12 assists a season and still be criticized. I did my job. If I'm recording 12 assists a season, JVM, do the calculation of how many assists I'm giving and people are just messing up.
How many
if I'm able to record 12.
Yeah.
If I'm able to record 12. Which striker? Workhorse. You understand me? Like sometimes we chastise players when they are actually really doing their job. I need my midfielders to midfield, my defenders to defend, and my strikers to strike. That is my motto for this season. I need my midfielders to defend, midfielders to midfield, control the midfield, pass the ball, move the ball forward, defenders to defend. I don't need you pushing the ball forward, doing all of the rabones and all of those things. That is not your job. If you see your number 6, pass him the goddamn ball and go back. And I need my strikers to strike. And we are going to talk about the impact of a striker when we talk about Chelsea.
Yeah, and that's staying on topic. That's the next segue, and it's Chelsea. So we talked about United, City, and Arsenal so far, but yeah, Chelsea. And if you're a Chelsea fan, you're in for a long year. I'll let Yusuf go off because he texted me that he really wanted to talk about Chelsea. So, but yeah, I'll talk about Chelsea after. But Chelsea fans, it's going to be a long year trying to support this team.
Trust me, I don't know what Chelsea are doing. I don't know what Chelsea. Look, Chelsea is being run like a bad African country. Like it feels like African politics. Trust me, Chelsea is being run like how they used to run the Sierra Leones and the Liberians for them to go into civil war and stuff like that. That is how Chelsea is being run. Mind you, Chelsea has 47 players on their books. 47 players on their books, 7 goalkeepers. 7 goalkeepers. Which type of management is this? You have 47 players signed on your books, 7 goalkeepers. Granted, some of them are the likes of Lukaku, who would never come back to the squad, but still, what are you doing? And you didn't have a plan this season to offload some of them, but still you found a chance to sign more. Let's take this Raheem Sterling's situation, not being added in the match day squad, him and his management saying whatever they said. It looks like he's not a part of like the coach's plans for this season. A team like Chelsea, I don't think Maresca said, or Maresca, right? Maresca, I think he might have already told you guys what his plans for the season were. So if this man isn't a part of your plans for the season, shouldn't there have been a consensus to be agreed upon
To sell him.
by this time? What type of management is that? And who pays a player on his decline? Raheem Sterling, 250,000 a week. So now his contract is very hard to offload. Who signs players for 6-7 years and now their contracts are very hard to offload? Chelsea. You were giving players 7-year contracts. 7-year contracts, thinking you are rather crippling the players. In this year, on this day of football, you can't cripple any player by giving him a long contract. If he performs, he can go wherever he wants. And if he doesn't perform, it is your problem.
Yeah, because what Chelsea are going, or at least what it leads to, is players being very comfortable with sitting on the bench and just collecting their paycheck. I'm not. So I want to play like Sterling now. I want to play. I want to perform. You're not even going to put me in the match squad. Worst comes to worst, I sit down at home and you pay me anyways. Because
and you are going to pay me.
These contracts are so lengthy, especially the new signings like Enzo Fernandez, Caicedo, Pedro Neto, all these new signings they've made. Mudryk. They've given these players such lengthy contracts that it's like you better pray these players work out because you are in for a long one. And then the other part is, how do you offload these players? How?
With all of these contracts.
Yeah, or what other stupid club are you going to convince to sign these players? What club is going to be dumb enough to take these contracts of players that are underperforming and that are on massively inflated wages? I don't know if this is Todd Boehly making these deals. I don't know who Todd Boehly appointed to make these deals, but whoever's making this mess at Chelsea needs to be fired yesterday. This is not how successful
he doesn't understand his role.
Yeah, this is not how successful. Excuse me. This is not how a successful football team is run. You look at Real Madrid. You look at Barcelona. You look at Bayern Munich, Juventus back in the day. Never has anyone ever made deals like this. Even now, Man City, Arsenal, they do make deals like this. Does not work. And then it just becomes the point of, what if you want to hit the reset button and go for a rebuild? How do you go for a rebuild when you can't even offload these players? It is ludicrous. It is horrible business, and I just hope that. I hope that first of all, the way to fix this problem is to do what United have just done this summer. Go and get the best people in the business to come and run your club. And yeah, even just talking about the performance on the pitch, it was poor. City, fair enough, it's against City, but City did whatever they wanted with them. It was so poor. So poor. But I digress.
Yeah, Chelsea, and if we are even going to delve into the actual game, I don't know what the coach is doing, playing 3 similar players with no creative bone in their bodies in midfield. Similar players. Enzo can play the 6th role and the 8th role. Caicedo is more geared towards the 6th role.
Yeah.
And then there's a Lavia, no?
Yeah.
Who just came back from injuries and all of those scarce, and like you are thrusting all of them in midfield. So there was little to no creativity.
Another six.
You understand me? And in the attacking role, you play Cole Palmer more out of position than in position. So he's finding it difficult to really find himself. You have a Jackson who is like practically non-existent as a striker. He has the energy to run around, but doesn't do anything, nothing else. You have a midfield that is so stagnant because Enzo would rather complain than play football. Enzo would rather lift his hands and feel like he's better than everybody in the midfield than actually do his job as a captain. The captaincy alone
is a joke. It's a bad joke.
Is a joke.
It's a bad joke.
After everything that happened this off-season, this was the person you were supposed to. You feel like you could give the captain ban to. And let's put that aside. Your main captain and your vice captain can't stay healthy. Chelsea is so poor a team than your main captain is Reece James. How is the team being run? You can't come from legendary captains like John Terry and now Reece James is your captain. Your second captain is Chidwell, and they are both injured. So now the next thing we see, Neto would be having the captain.
Not too long from now.
You understand me? After everything that happened with Enzo, you guys are sweeping it down the rug. They don't like him, like you could see. Fofana would never like Enzo.
Never. And after what happened.
You understand me? So that is why he was being all frustrated in the game like that. No. They wouldn't like him because of what happened. So there's just a collection of things that have happened and Chelsea should work internally, solve this. Didn't they say Enzo was going for surgery?
They also said they were going to give him some type of educational, educational coaching or training or whatever it was, and then they make him.
Aren't we tired of hearing that?
And then they make him captain. It's a joke. It's a bad joke. What's going on at
He
Chelsea.
doesn't. After his mess up, his record is captain. His reward is captain. They lack direction. This was a game they should have won because Manchester City didn't have their foot on the gas. The only person pressing was Doku, and the only person controlling the midfield to the max was Kovacic. It's probably the best player in the game.
Yeah, he had a very good game from Kovacic.
They had Kyle Walker on the bench. Phil Foden didn't start. You understand me? They had Rodri didn't even start the game. Didn't even play the game. De Bruyne was a shadow of himself. So this is a winnable game for Chelsea because these are the only games you can win when your opposition isn't up to their full potential. How many Chelsea players had international duty to go to? None. Just a few. So you guys are well rested and yet put up a performance like this. Nah, man. Chelsea is a joke. I feel bad for Chelsea fans because they are one of the most realest people when it comes to this footballing thing. They support this team through thick and thin, and I feel bad for them having to go through all of this.
Yeah, and again, we're not going to overreact too much because I remember a few years ago when Arsenal had just barely missed out on top four before. So this was 3 years ago. They also had a run of the first 3 games where they lost against smaller teams, and everyone wanted Arteta out. So we're not going to overreact to these performances just yet. But, the signs are there. The signs are there. For example, Real Madrid, you can look at how, for example, their midfield can be exploited. You look at Chelsea, and you can see how just the overall management of the club from top to bottom, from the owner of the club to the captain of the club, the whole thing is just a mess. And, we'll see how that works out throughout the season. But moving on, is there anything else, Yusuf, you want to talk about regarding the top 5 leagues or any other league? Because I think we've covered the main topics.
Oh yeah, we have. But I just wanted to give some people their flowers. I wanted to give Brighton their flowers for an incredible start of the season.
Mm-hmm.
You get me 3-0 versus Everton is quite impressive. You understand me? And you know, teams like Brighton don't get their just due. So 3-0 versus Everton was quite impressive. I also want to speak about, not necessarily speak about, but like, you know, talk about I think my game of the week
Mhm.
was the Brentford Crystal Palace game.
Brentford Palace.
I personally think that was my game of the week because that was like some serious back and forth um, tactics and performances, and like, you know, two teams not wanting to lose and all of those things. And this is the reason why we watch the EPL, you know, because you can watch a Brentford and Crystal Palace game and still enjoy it. You understand me? So I just wanted to, like, you know, throw some light on these two teams that like gave us like exceptional performances during the weekend.
Shout out to Palace and Brentford. Um, now, as we said, the leagues are back, but we are still in in transfer window mode. There are still,
Mm-hmm.
what is it, 10, 11 days left of the no, 12 days left of the summer transfer window, my bad. And one of the biggest rumors that's going on right now at the moment is João Felix. It's like every summer transfer window, Felix is in the rounds. And yeah, the rumors towards Chelsea are getting stronger and stronger. I'm not sure, but I think a deal may have been agreed already. Don't quote me on that. But yes, the again, we were just talking about Chelsea spending a lot of money and then they just go on to sign João Felix. But yeah, just talking about João Felix as a player and what he can add to this Chelsea team. I've said this before. I have a soft spot for Felix. I know how
Mm-hmm.
good this guy is, and you know, as a fan of a player, as a football fan, I'm always just a sports fan in general. I'm always very mindful to not put players on a pedestal. For example,
Mm-hmm.
um, I'll always try to give my non-biased opinion of a player. But with Felix, just how good he is and how good he's shown to be, even in the stints that he was at Barcelona and that he was at
Mm-hmm.
Chelsea. Really and truly, my biggest, you know, let's not over glance over the fact that he's inconsistent because that also matters. But I feel like that
Mm-hmm.
problem can be resolved with a manager that allows Felix to play in his best role.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what Felix's best role is at the minute is kind of hard to
To
decipher
pinpoint.
because yeah, because he
Mm-hmm.
can play on the left, he can play on the right, you can play him as a false nine. But I think that's kind of where the beauty of a great manager comes from. I genuinely believe from the
Yeah.
bottom of my heart, if John Felix was a Man City, he'd be one of the best players in the Premier League. But
Mm-hmm.
again, that's the fact that great
That's the
managers,
potential.
yeah, that's the thing. Felix's potential, he has one of the highest potentials of any players in the world. I just feel like you have to put him a tier below Mbappe and Haaland, but after that, I feel like Felix can hang with the best of them. My thing about Felix is, can
Yes.
Maresca, if Maresca is going to get him, is he going to do a Raheem Sterling, or is he going to use Felix to the best of his ability, and is he going to get the best out of Felix? Because again, in terms of of ability, of footballing ability and the football mind, Felix has the tools to be successful. It's just about one Felix being consistent, and number two, the manager finding the right space within the team to allow Felix to be successful and be consistent in that matter. But what do you think of Felix to Chelsea, Yusuf?
I think Joao Felix is an amazing player. He just chooses to make dumb decisions at the wrong times.
Yeah.
There's a possibility Chelsea could sign you, but then you go to Barcelona and go kissing the Barcelona badge. You are on loan to a team and you found it sensible or reasonable to go kissing the badge and doing all of those press conferences and saying all of those glorious things about Barcelona. Now you are down and out, and Chelsea has to come save you. You understand me? All of these things just puts fans off of you, you know, because they feel like they
Yeah.
can't rely on your loyalty. You get me? He is an exceptional player by all standards. He needs he needs a system that caters for all of his qualities. And as you said, a system like the Manchester United, a Manchester City system, it is going to bring the best out of a lot of players. A system like even the Real Madrid system, he's going to be one of the best in the world because if you are playing against amazing or playing around amazing talents, it makes the game easier for you. You understand me? He would be a very good addition to this Chelsea squad because looking at their midfield, they lack creativity. And a player like João Felix, assuming the Bruno Fernandes role for Chelsea, is going to be exceptional, provided he's not selfish, he doesn't force it. And he has the talent to do all of that. The only thing he lacks is the bone-headed moves. You understand me? Like I like look, there's an Bruno has his moments of irrational moves. Bruno has his moments of like, erratic moves, as we constantly say. But like some of João Felix's moves are boneheaded, even in games. So he needs to really fix that. And if Chelsea can, Chelsea should go get him. But they have signing too many players to even like, oh, Chelsea.
They already have too many players in their books, and then go spend more money on another 10-year contract. They are brave. I'll give them that. They are brave. That's the one thing you can't fault Chelsea for. But again, moving on from João Felix, the other very imminent deal and another big deal to a big club that's making the rounds is Ugarte to Manchester United. I feel like last time we talked about Ugarte, you made a very good point about how PSG play. And again, this is why this is the best debate show on YouTube. Yusuf made a very good point about how Ugarte plays and how it doesn't really fit the way PSG want to play anymore. And that's why he was ousted in a sense during the season. And that's why they brought in João Neves. It looks like Luis Enrique wants a more technical player. We need an enforcer in our team. So it's really mutually beneficial for PSG to get rid of him and clear the wages as well as to get some money. And it's also good for us because we get a player that we desperately need. So I just feel like this still needs to be done as soon as possible.
I think you hit the ball right on the nail. This is going to be a very quick exchange because both teams need different things from the player. And once this player fits the role that Manchester, look, I like it when Manchester goes in for players that fix specific problems. You understand me? That means you are treating the season differently from how you treated other seasons. But if you just go into the market just to sign talent, it makes me feel like you haven't learned from previous mistakes. You understand? Yeah. So it's amazing that Manchester is going away. And yes, last week we spoke a lot about Ugarte. He's going to be an exceptional addition. And Manchester should go all out. Now that's like it looks like Manchester should just go all out and sign him. You understand me? Even though I've seen, Manchester should go all out and sign him.
That's good because again, with Casemiro staying, I feel like Casemiro starts over Ugarte, but it's like Casemiro can't start every single game, and even in that sense, by next year, I feel like Casemiro will be gone. So even just for Ugarte to come in, maybe because of that, we play Casemiro in a more secondary role, and I feel like that's good. That's good for squad depth. That's good for all the things that we're trying to achieve. And again, us trying to be successful in the Europa League, having a player like Ugarte is only going to benefit the way the style of play that Ten Hag is developing and the longevity throughout the season. I think is a win for Ugarte if we get him in. And again, he's so defensively gifted. I wouldn't compare him to Kante because Kante is one of the best CDMs of all time. But I think that's a very good comparison just because of how hungry he is to win the ball back and how well he does it. And then, yes, he's no Casemiro, he's no Sergio Busquets or Rodri, but when he does win the ball back, he's able to lay the ball off, and he's got the likes of Bruno Fernandes next to him, he's got the likes of Kobe Mainoo next to him, and he's got Lisandro Martinez behind him, who's also a great ball progressor and creator. I feel like it would be a very, very good addition to this United team.
Facts.
But yeah, that's all the topics for today, and I feel like now we are able to move on to our short segment. Have a bit of fun, bring out a few names, do a little bit of player comparisons, go look at some football hot takes.
Can I say sorry? Can I say something
about
the French league? Let me say something about the PSG game. That was one of the games that I watched outside of the popular games, and I really enjoyed the game. I have some points here that I have to read from my phone because I needed to give this kid his flowers. João Neves is him.
Amazing game.
João Neves is him. If this kid is going to play this way for the rest of the season, we are looking at the birth of one of the best midfielders in Europe. João Neves is him. PSG started really slow, not being able to really connect in the midfield like the way they were supposed to. Vitinho, mind you, Vitinho was doing his job. It wasn't Vitinho not pulling, you know. But there's just players that have a certain level of quality that is different from other players.
Yeah.
And I felt like João Neves had that quality. And when he came in, the whole game changed. Providing assists for the likes of Dembele and Barcola. It was an amazing game all around because he did everything that was needed to be done on the pitch. So I just wanted to give a 19-year-old João Neves his flowers for coming from Benfica and replicating his form in this PSG squad.
Very, very good.
So yeah, that was what I wanted to.
And again, I'm also glad PSG have kind of changed their strategy, because a team like PSG, the biggest team in France, for them to not have at least the biggest team in France over the last of recent history, for them to have no Champions Leagues, it's not very good. It's not very good for European football overall, because you're gonna have Europe, you're gonna have German teams winning it. You're gonna have English and Spanish teams winning it. You're gonna have Italian teams coming very close to winning it. But you do want to throw a French team in the mix. And yeah, if PSG are finding a new way to build teams and not just spend the most money available on those squads, then yeah, is the correct way to move forwards. But
Facts.
yeah, but we're gonna start our short segments now, guys. We appreciate you guys for watching. And yeah, if you have any player comparisons or if you have any hot takes, please drop them in the chat. If you have any hot take, guys, drop them in the chat. We're going to react to it. If we don't react to it today, I promise you, we'll do it next episode. It kind of actually helps us with the production of the show. If you have any player comparisons, it also helps us with the production of the show. So we appreciate you guys. But without wasting any more time, guys, the first comparison I have for you, Yusuf, is Cole Palmer against Phil Foden. This is one this was a comparison that was making the rounds before the Euros. After the Euros and after the season they've both had, who do you think has had a better year?
They just announced Phil Foden as the PFA Player of the Year, right?
Yeah, that time.
Just moments ago. So that kind of answers the question. His team won the league. Without his inputs, his team wouldn't be where they are. I feel like Cole Palmer had like an exceptional start to his Chelsea career, but I'll still give the edge to Phil Foden.
Yeah,
And when it comes to better player, I still think Phil Foden is a better player than Cole Palmer.
same thing here. I still feel like Foden is a great player, but for a lot of people that say Foden's better, the gap isn't as big as a lot of people think. With the way Palmer is playing,
Facts.
if he's able to stay consistent, I promise you, the gap is not as big as you think. If you think Foden is better,
hmm And because I feel like because I have seen Foden do it season in, season out
yeah,
as a role player and also as a main member of the squad, it looks like I have more memory depth of Foden doing it than I have of Cole Palmer doing it. So I would still take Foden's body of work over Cole Palmer's one season. The whole game changed.
okay. Next one we have here. The next one we have here is Rodrigo or Yamal. Rodrigo from Real Madrid or Lamine Yamal from Barcelona.
Um, yeah, I've talked about this in previous episodes. If your choice in this matter is ever Yamin Yamal, you are how do you call it? A prisoner of the moment, or how do you say it? You are recency bias, right? Because Rodrigo has been on this type timing for the past 3, 4 seasons. Let's say 3 seasons. Rodrigo has been exceptional. I praise Yamil Yamal for his exceptional performances and breakthrough performances and all of those things. But I still think Rodrigo is a far better player than Yamil Yamal. Rodrigo, in a bigger role, would do better than Yamil Yamal. Rodrigo has to share and fight for positions with the likes of Vinicius Junior, Brahim Diaz, now and Ada Turan and Ada Guler, sometimes Valverde. A
Yeah.
host of exceptional wingers, Lucas Vasquez sometimes, and he's still doing what he's doing. He has to what share the stage with the likes of Kylian Mbappe now. Last season, Vinny Jr. and Jude Bellingham. You know, so I still feel Rodrigo is better.
Yeah, so similar thoughts, not quite the same, but I do think Rodrigo is better. He's proven it. Let's not forget the Champions League campaigns Real Madrid had, especially the 2021 campaign. Rodrigo
Mm-hmm.
came in clutch time and time again for Real Madrid.
Right.
Very nice for Vinny to come through in the final, but in those round of 16s, in the quarterfinals, in the semi-finals, Rodrigo was essential to
Mm-hmm.
this team. And Rodrigo, he's always asked to do this, or at least he was asked to do this a lot, coming from the bench, taking the
Facts.
fourth or even at times fifth role in the team. Now, the where I
Facts.
disagree with you, Yusuf, is I
Mm-hmm.
do think Yamal has the potential to be better than Rodrigo. I feel like Yamal
Okay.
has definitely the potential to be better than Rodrigo. It's just as of today,
Okay.
20th of August 2024, he's not there yet, and,
Mm-hmm.
he's not shown
Okay.
enough in comparison to Rodrigo for me to warrant him to be better.
Facts.
And the next one we have is Jude Bellingham against Musiala. Who's the better player?
Yeah. Yo. Yo, gang, 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 gang. Let me stick with my boy Jude Bellingham. Look, Musiala is an exceptional player. I feel like they are two different players, even though they are midfielders.
Yeah,
What you are getting from both players is two different things. So depending on your squad and depending on what you need, these are two players that can actually play on the same pitch. You understand me? Because they provide two different things for you, depending on your squad. I'm a Real Madrid fan. I would love to have both players in my squad because I feel like
of course.
Musiala can fit into the Modric and Cruz role very well. But what I get from Jude is some relentless spirit, some incredible levels of maturity, some incredible levels of what? Uh, Poisonous and ball control and credible levels of work rate that I don't see anybody at his age showing that. You get me? Jude at his age can captain any team in the world, even though he's young. And that leadership skill that he has, a lot of the players at his age don't what possess this leadership skill. With the season he had last season, mind you, people are forgetting his last season for Dortmund. He didn't only captain Dortmund, he took them to what? Almost winning the league. He took them to what? Amazing fits. So people are forgetting his partnership with Haaland, him recording incredible levels of assist, him being the reason why Haaland was that prolific. So people just remember last season Jude and think that is his body of work. But he has a lot more that he has shown. I would choose Jude. Even the reason I'm talking too much about this is because it's apples and oranges with Jude and Musiala. It depends on what you need from your midfielder, and it could go either way. I don't want to be biased and like act like I don't love Musiala. I love both players, but I'm going with Jude for now. But Musiala is still an exceptional player.
Yeah, and again, let's give Musiala his flowers, but I've said this before. I feel like Jude Bellingham right now is the best midfielder in the world. The only player that has a comparison to him would be Rodri. That's the only other guy I would want
Mm-hmm.
to hear anything about because, yes, the goals definitely help, the 20 goals, but when you put in the 20 goals, when you put in the build up play Bellingham takes part in, when you put in the defensive
Mm-hmm.
effort that Bellingham puts up, you don't usually
Right.
see this from midfielders that score a lot of goals. This
Mm-hmm.
this
Mm-hmm.
effort that they put up defensively. And with Bellingham,
Yeah.
it's not just effort. It also comes down to um, what you say, an efficiency defensively to win the ball
Mm-hmm.
back, and then when he does win the ball back, he's able to progress play into the final third. So yeah, both great players, but with this one, I do have to take Jude Bellingham. The next one we have, the last one we have actually is um, Rasmus Højlund from Manchester United against Gabriel Jesus. Who's had who's had the better year?
Uh, this is very hard
Is it?
because Hoyland has had his fair share of injuries,
Yeah.
and Gabriel Jesus has also had his fair share of injuries. I would go for Hoyland because I feel like Gabriel Jesus has a more solid or a more ready team for him to just fit in and be able to do whatever he's doing to, like, help the team win. But this is the case. All they need is a striker, and you are the striker who isn't scoring goals. You are the striker who isn't showing up. So yeah, I would go with Hoyland because the little I have seen of Hoyland, I know if he gets a full, a healthy season, he could do something in the league. So I'll go with Hoyland.
And I'm sorry to anyone that says Jesus over Højlund. I feel like it's easily. I feel like Højlund had
Who has had a
easily,
better season?
yeah,
That is what they said,
a better
right?
season, and I even feel like Højlund overall was just going to blossom to being a better player than Gabriel Jesus. You're talking about with
Mm-hmm.
Gabriel Jesus. Yes, he had some amazing years at City, but as you said, you're comparing the quality of players he had at City and at Arsenal to the
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
dysfunctional team that Højlund had to deal with in his first season at Manchester United, and also the
Facts.
injuries that Højlund had to deal with. And this guy still put
Mm-hmm.
up 19 goals.
Facts.
At the end of the day, if you're a striker, you're going to be judged on how many goals you're
Mm-hmm.
scoring. And if we're comparing an experienced Premier League player who scored 8 goals last year
Mm-hmm.
to Højlund, first year at Manchester United, first season in the Premier League, scores 19 goals. So to me, it's not even
Yeah.
a comparison. Højlund wins.
Mm-hmm.
But yes, finally, we're gonna look at some more football hot takes. And again, guys, if you have any football hot takes, drop them down in the chat so we can react to them either today, even if you still have some time, or next time.
Yeah.
And the first one is Real Madrid, with the team they have, must win the quadruple this year.
Um, it is not supposed to be a hot take. This is supposed to be a factual statement.
Okay.
Anything below, anything below the double this season is a failed season, and that is what I truly believe in. You have you have more like Real Madrid right now has one of the most perfect teams in world football. The only team I would take, or the only team I would say has a more better roster would be the Man City or probably the Bayern Munich roster. But the reason I'm saying Real Madrid has a very perfect team this season is you take the goalkeeper to the number 9 in the starting lineup, they have at least a player who is at least top 5 in their position in the world. At least,
All world class.
if not one. You understand me? Take Kylian in his role. Take Vini Jr. in his role and take Rodrigo in their roles. We just spoke about how Bellingham has a case to be the best midfielder in world football. Valverde is one of the most slept over midfielders in world football, but for his role, he still can make a top 5. Chouamini, if you didn't respect Chouamini, you might have gained his respect in the what? Euros. Because without Chouamini and with Chouamini, there was more stability in this
French team.
the France squad. And with Real Madrid, he's made it so that we have forgotten Casemiro. Take the old man, Carvajal, reinventing himself every season and every possession. Take the centre back pairing. We have so much so that Alaba has been injured for the better part of the season and we don't miss him because of the quality we have to replace him. Benjamin Mendy reinvented himself. So we have like squad depth, the like of Camavinga. Brahim Diaz is going to start in a lot of teams. It has to come from the bench. Ada Goulet is going to start as a young player in a lot of teams, and he has to come from the bench. The likes of Endrick was sought after by a lot of teams in Europe and could be a starter in a lot of teams as a wonder kid, and he's starting from the bench. Let's go deeper. Alaba, when he comes back, is going to start from the bench. There's squad depth, there's players. Modric starting from the bench. Lucas Vasquez and all of those players. So there's everything that qualifies Real Madrid to be a team that should dominate. We just need to click and find our chemistry. So yes, anything short of a double at least is a failed season for me. And anything short of at least winning the league, I'm going to be very pissed.
Yeah, so the quadruple on this statement is kind of ludicrous, saying that if they don't win the league, if they don't win the quadruple, then the season is a failure. But I do agree with you. The league needs to be a lock. I feel like they should also be able to win a cup, and they should also be able to at least make the Champions League a final or semi-final at worst.
Yeah.
Because this team is stacked to the brim, and not even that. You've got, as I said, they've got some of the best players in the world, so there's no reason for them to not be at that level.
Thanks.
And yeah, the other hot take we have here is Saka player of the season. And as we said at the start, if Saka, especially this season, because Arsenal are going to need him, you're going to have two things here. If Arsenal want to be successful this season, they will need the best. They'll need the best Saka that they can get, and if they get the best Saka that they can get, two things are going to happen. They're going to probably win the league, and Saka, or at least come very close to winning the league, and Saka is going to be a contender for player of the season, and
Thanks.
and yes, I feel like it is a hot take, Saka player of the season, but I don't think it's crazy. I feel like it could definitely happen, especially if Arsenal go on to win the league. Saka is definitely going to be, if not the main player in the team, is going to be one of the top 2, top 3 players in the team at worst.
Players in the team, yeah. That is very true.
And yeah, final hot take is going to be Liverpool will not get top 4 this season.
I think they would. I think they would. I think they still would. I think they would. Partly because I still feel like some of this some of these EPL teams honestly are still finding their way. They are still finding the balance. You know, Manchester United could be very good or could be mid. You know, there's still that balance. Manchester United could be very good or they could be mid. Newcastle could be very good or they could be mid. You know, the likes of Brighton could move from the mid category to be very good. You understand me? The likes of, you know, it's so unpredictable in the EPL right now that it will be very hard for me to kind of like write out a team that has already proved they can do something and they have done it for the past 5 seasons to not be able to replicate what they have done. You know, so no, I don't. I think Liverpool can make the top 4.
And yeah, I kind of have to agree here. I feel like you made a very good point, because people they have this trend now to call the Premier League the Farmers League, and it's like, yes, fair enough, City are being dominant, but every year City are being challenged. Like last year, they were challenged to the very last game of the season. And if you're just looking at the top, fair enough, but then you also have to look at the spaces from number 3 to number 8, which in the Premier League is always very competitive. So it's like last year you had Aston Villa in the mix, and that probably cost the likes of Tottenham a space in the top 4. So this year it could be again a West Ham who've made a lot of deals this summer. It could be an Aston Villa again. It could be Newcastle getting in the top 4. So Liverpool could not make the top 4, but with the way this team played last year, the convincing win they had at the start of the season, as a prediction, I would have to say they will make top 4. They will make top 4. But anyways, guys, we're going to end here. Thank you very much for watching. We appreciate you guys sticking by. And yeah, another weekend of football waits us. and we'll be back
Mm-hmm.
next week to talk about everything that happens in world football, Premier League, La Liga, all top five leagues, and if any transfer rumors. The transfer window is still gonna be open
Yeah.
next week, so there's still gonna be deals going on. So it's going to be another fun week. Any final words, Yusuf?
Right. Nah. Let me just leave my people with these final words, man. Good things come to those who work their asses off and never give up. So keep the fire burning and just keep working.
Amen.
Peace.
See you guys again. See you all next week. We appreciate you guys for watching.